All right, here we go. We're rolling. It's Friday night and we are doing a market update. Just what you want, the news when you should be going out to look at properties. So this update is going to be the Camarillo market update and it's pretty exciting. So as you guys may or may not be aware, but the mountain fire preceded the Palisades fire, which has huge effects on real estate. One of the reasons is because when these homes burn, you have the loss of housing, there's a rush to rentals, short term, there's a surge in that type of pricing, and then the demand for housing goes up. So we saw that happen already and then bayed back down, and the market's kind of doing what the rest of the markets are doing in Camarillo, which is softening. We saw that all happen and transpire in 2025, especially the fourth quarter of last year. We saw sellers listing properties lower. So if you guys are a seller, this video is for you. If you're looking for a Camarillo market update, particularly sellers. Now, is this going to benefit buyers? Of course it's going to benefit buyers because you guys are going to get the inside information of what the sellers need to know. So I've got some really important data here about inventory, about days on market, why properties are getting picked up and why other properties aren't. We are sitting at about 103 properties, which is very consistent with where the low and the high was last year. It went up to about 120 properties in Camarillo. So it isn't a lot. There's actually more density in Camarillo, but more properties available in Ventura. And Ventura's price per square foot sells higher, even though those homes are older. So the reason for that is Ventura's got these, cute areas that are near its downtown, the true city center of the county, and where the mission is, steps away from the beach, as well as having beachfront property and hillside views. And you get some pretty amazing hillside views in Camarillo, which is a very underrated little suburb, somewhat comparable to Ojai in a way that it's equestrian, but also a little different. We have this old town in Camarillo, but imagine if you had only old town in Camarillo and you're only in the equestrian area. That's kind of what Ojai's like. So Ojai is special. It's got its perks. There's a lot of prideful people out there that feel like, okay, now that it's discovered, I get all the credit. They feel good, like, oh, we knew it the whole time. And they're a little upset that it's being discovered. However, it kind of validates what was there. At the end of the day, Ojai's boring. And that's kind of what's great about it. It's beautiful if you know where to look. It can be fun. There's just a little bit to do, but it's also boring. But that's what people are attracted to about Ojai, is that it's boring. There's not too much going on to get you distracted. There's not too much to get you in trouble. Well, Camarillo's a lot like that too in its lifestyle, but it's more broad, 130,000 in population. People are super down to earth. They're really into schools. They're really into family, really into going to church. And there's sports teams, AYSO Soccer League. You've got your basketball, baseball, football. And that's kind of what people do in Camarillo. So with 103 homes for sale, there's properties that were sold this year alone is 63. So that's 63 that were absorbed and closed and done. Right now there's 67 pending, under contract, ready to be absorbed. That's a very consistent number. That's what we love when we're doing data analysis. We want to know there's a consistent number being picked up and a consistent number closed. But what does that tell us? That tells us that leftover cream on the crop is priced too high. And wouldn't you know, how many properties, the difference between 103 and let's say 60, that's almost about how many properties have been on 100 days or more. So we're at about 32 properties have been on 100 days or more, but that doesn't mean that those ones that are 60, 70, 80, or 90 days are kind of in that we don't want to be the 100-day sellers, that they're not there too. Yeah, those are the ones going to add up and get to that 60 number. The ones that are under 30 days, 42 under 30 days. That's really strong because those are the properties that are coming to market. They're watching what's happening. They're coming to market priced appropriately, not reaching for the stars, not reaching for that extra 5 or 10%, or even 2 or 3% for that matter. They're coming in right at where market value is. What could it sell for in 30 days or less? That's how they're pricing it. Not going back 6 months or a year looking at comps of the nicest house that sold in the neighborhood of that town and comparing it to that. Really looking at good data. So with that being said, there's this gray area of properties between 30 days and let's say 90 or 100 days. 90 to 110 days, That's always been an interesting part as a listing agent, because right around 90 to 110 days, you could be quiet for 30 days, and all of a sudden the people who've been eyeballing it, they come out of the woodwork and they want to put their low number in and they want to see what they can get it for. And that's the case with all the properties I have on where you're fighting for that 25,000 or that 20%. It ends up just kind of biting you in the long run, because we're in a true down market. 2023 was kind of our peak, 2024-ish, but there were definitely some red flags and some signs that things were changing. And then 2025 was the reality that we're no longer in that pandemic or post-pandemic market of a shift. The interest rates, the economy, all of that stuff is strained. Cost of insurance going up, cost of utilities, water, cost of food, gas, all those things have gone up. Even though they've kind of subsided a little bit from their peaks, they're still expensive. It's a lot of cost of good on the working person, therefore not qualifying and not wanting to smartly afford as much. So we're seeing price points pinch just a little bit. Now we're seeing that in Camarillo too. So Camarillo's a thinner market, is very high demand under $1 million. It's very high demand under $1 million. Once you get between about 1 to 1.4, that's kind of like your mid-luxury market where you get really nice properties. A lot of people wanting to get that bigger family home kind of spread out and have more space among the members of their family. But once you get to 2 million, 2 to 3 million, that's kind of like the inflection of true luxury. And that's where I think Camarillo shines. I feel like Camarillo is one of the most underserved as far as luxury housing cities in our county. So it's one of those places where if you're looking for a golf course community, if you're looking for some of the best weather you're going to find anywhere in the world, like that is Camarillo. And if you're shopping between 2 and 3 million, or you're shopping between 5 million, it's fine to go to Camarillo. Maybe you don't get the biggest property, they are there, but you can actually really score between 2 and 3 million. As once you start going to 5 to 10 million, there are certain estates in Camarillo, Santa Rosa, West Lake Tahoe, Ojai, Santa Barbara, where you start really getting a special estate property. Even Santa Paula and Fillmore, don't overlook those areas. Those are areas where you can kind of get more space, but you're gonna have a lot more heat. Camarillo's probably gonna have the best moderate climate out of all of them. Ventura City will be the coolest. Ojai is one of the hottest. That's one of the things that gets me, is that you've got, of course, all the celebrities talking about how great it is to be there and to work and kind of have that space. That boringness is nice, but you've got these great farmers markets and little eateries around, so it makes it feel like a staycation. But the thing is, it gets so hot, and we had that heat wave, that winter summer. It was one of the best winter summers that we've ever had for us surfers. We were just living it up in January. We got 2 new surf spots with what the rain produced in the sediment for our sandbanks. It's almost as if when we don't get the snow, for wanting to go to Bear Mountain and all the other ski resorts, in June that are around, what we get is a sand pack. We measure the sand. Well, what was the sandbar like? Well, we got 2 amazing sandbars. And growing up in Camarillo, being able to surf all the areas around, it was really, really special to see that happen this year. So if you guys want to know more about that lifestyle, Camarillo, Ventura, Oxnard, Ojai, Tahoe, and what the different areas have to offer, go ahead, go with a local, give us a call, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.